The air in the canyon tastes of sulfur and fear. It is a permanent feature of this fissure in the world, a deep scar carved between sheer basalt walls that claw at a sky too often blotted out. Above them, the great ash minus to the dormant volcano breathes a constant pale mist into the heavens, a veil for the god that lives upon its peak. The ash minus vein clan, a small knot of early humans huddled in the volcano's shadow, knows this god. By the sound it makes before it appears, a dry percussive clatter like immense bones striking one another. Then the shadow comes. It is a sudden twilight, a cold patch that glides across the canyon floor, drinking the sun. The clan freezes, every man, woman and child becoming a statue of living stone. They look up. Descending from the mist is the sky titan, the god they call Quetzal. It is not a creature of flesh and blood in their minds, but a divine messenger, a living spear thrown by the volcano itself. Its head, longer than a full grown man, is tall as crown, with a magnificent blood red crest and ends in a beak that could shear a tree wrong. Its wings, vast leathery sails stretched over impossible bones, span the width of the canyon itself, casting all of their small lives into profound shadow. This is the central and blinking eye of their prehistoric life, a life lived in supplication to a monster. They believe its hunger is a form of judgment, its satisfaction a blessing. For generations this belief has been the bedrock of their survival. Today the bedrock cracks. Kale the Elder signals. His movements are slow, deliberate, a lifetime of ritualized behavior distilled into a single sacred act. Two hunters, their bodies taut with a mixture of reverence and terror, step forward. They carry their offering on a crude wooden litter, a prime HYP silo food on its belly, fat given not for food but for favor. They place it on the flat offering stone at the center of the clearing, a dark stain on the rock marking the site of countless similar pleas. Kale raises his arms, his voice a low chant that is swallowed by the canyon's oppressive silence. He offers the clan's courage, their respect, their obedience. He asks only that the sky titan accept their gift and leave their children untouched. The great Quetzalcoatlus descends, its colossal shadow sweeping over them. Its feet surprisingly small for such a giant touch the ground with a soft thud 100 paces from the offering. It ignores the meticulously prepared sacrifice. The god does not even glance at the HYP silo food on. Instead, its immense head swivels with a terrifying bird-like quickness. Its gaze fixes on the far side of the clearing near the stream, where three small children, frozen mid-play noused, and as if rooted to the earth. A low guttural hiss escapes its throat. It takes a single loping stride, covering half the distance to the children in an instant. The clan's collective breath hitches. This is not the behavior of a god receiving tribute. This is the cold, appraising stare of a predator. Panic is a cold fire that flashes through the clan's blood. Cal remains frozen, his hands still raised in a useless appeal to a god that is not listening. But Alara, mother to one of the small terrified statues by the stream, moves. Her action is not born of courage but of a terror so profound it becomes its own form of energy. She draws the flint knife from her belt, a tool for skinning, not for fighting dinosaurs and sprints, not toward the titan but toward the clan's small pen of captured list Rosa URS. These are their emergency rations, their hedge against starvation. With two frantic slashes she cuts the leather thong gate. She screams a rock rhymal sound and strikes the nearest of the pig-like creatures with the flat of her hand. The panicked animal bolts, squealing into the open, running perpendicular to the titan's path. The great predator's head snaps toward the new motion, its ancient mind hardwired to react to fleeing prey. The choice is instantaneous. The children are still small and uncertain. The list Rosa is a guaranteed meal. With another loping stride, the Quetzalcoatlus intercepts it. There is no glorious battle, no dramatic struggle worthy of a dinosaur documentary. The spear like beak descends once a piston of keratin and bone, and a sharp crack echoes off the canyon walls. The titan lifts its head, the mammal's broken body dangling limply from its jaws, and with a few powerful beats of its wings it launches itself back into the sky, disappearing into the sulphurous mist of the volcano. It leaves behind a stunned silence, the untouched offering on its stone interfaith bleeding out on the dusty ground. The incident shatters the clan's generational pact with the sky. For days a heavy dread hangs in the air, thicker than the volcanic haze. Kale insists on doubling the offerings, on longer chants and greater sacrifices, believing they have committed some unknown transgression. But for Alara and a young hunter named Jo, the event was not a judgment but a lesson in paleontology written in blood. The fear remains, but it is now alloyed with a dangerous new element, curiosity. They begin to commit heresy. While the clan sleeps or performs its futile rituals, they slip away. They climb. They find a hidden ledge high on the basalt cliffs, a dangerous perch that offers a direct if distant view of the Titan's nesting area. From this vantage the god is unmade. They watch it not as a divine being but as an animal. They see it preen clumsily tend to its massive solitary egg and drive away, scavenging pterosaurs with irritated hisses. They are pioneering a new field of study in a world where a failed experiment means being eaten. This is the raw and glamorous truth of human evolution. They meticulously observe its foraging patterns. It leaves the nest twice a day, once at first light and again as the afternoon sun begins to cool its great shadow, tracing predictable paths toward the open plains to the north or the river delta to the south. It is an AZHDR colossal but earthbound hunter, when not in the air, and its actions are dictated by hunger and territory, not divine will. This they realize is the most terrifying and hopeful discovery in their hominid history. A god cannot be reasoned with. An animal, however, can be understood. The knowledge burns within them, a secret fire that feels both sacrilegious and liberating. To speak of it openly is to invite Kayles wrath, to be branded a blasphemer who would call down the sky titans for fury upon them all. So they whisper. In the deepest hours of the night, huddled in the back of the communal cave, and a few others, they cautiously begin to forge a new kind of weapon. It is not made of stone or bone, but of observation and logic, a primitive form of anthropology applied to a monster. They discuss the Titan's habits, its predictable paths, its moments of apparent inattention while guarding its nest. The most crucial discovery is its reaction to sound. Jo recounts watching it abandon a hunt for a young triceratops near the river delta, startled not by the prey's charge, but by the sudden piercing shriek of a territorial flock of pteranodon nesting on the riverside cliffs. The Titan, for all its immense power, seemed unnerved by the high-frequency cry. This becomes the cornerstone of their plan. They cannot fight the god, but perhaps they can speak to it in a language it understands, the language of annoyance and territorial challenge. They begin to craft their whispers. Using the hollowed out thigh bones of an ostrich like ornithomimus, they fashion long flute like instruments. The first attempts produce only low mournful tones, but by studying the reeds that grow by the stream they learn to affix a sliver of dried plant tissue over one end. When blown with immense force, the bone pipes emit a piercing discordant shriek that echoes jarringly off the canyon walls, a crude imitation of the pteranodon cry. This is their osteodontocratic technology, repurposed not for killing but for communication with a predator. Their second weapon is scent. Alara, gatherer with an encyclopedic knowledge of the local flora, remembers a thick amber-colored resin that drips from the gnarled bark trees near the canyon's edge. When burned, it produces a pungent acrid smoke that repels biting insects and even small scavengers. They theorize that the Titan, with its keenly sensitive nostrils, might find the dense smoke as irritating as the shriek. Their strategy solidifies. They will no longer offer flesh but will instead offer a warning. They will make their territory, the area directly around their settlement, an undesirable place to hunt. It is a desperate gambit born of survival skills, a bet that they can turn the very air into a shield. The test comes sooner than they expect. One morning the great shadow falls over the canyon an hour before its usual time. The Titan's hunger has overridden its routine. It lands near the stream, its eyes scanning the familiar grounds. But this time the clan does not cower. At JO's signal, 3 hunters posted on the cliffside ignite bundles of the resin-soaked leaves. Thick foul-smelling smoke billows into the air, drifting toward the creature. Simultaneously, Alara and 2 others hidden among the rocks raise the bone pipes to their lips and blow. A cacophony of shrieks stares through the canyon, a sound designed to grate on primal nerves. The Quetzalcoatlus pauses. Its massive head cocks, its eyes blinking. It is not afraid, but it is clearly agitated. It takes a step back from the acrid smoke, hissing in annoyance at the relentless piercing noise. The greatest of the prehistoric animals looks not at prey but at an irritant. For a long tense moment it weighs its hunger against its discomfort. Then with a frustrated clap of its beak it launches itself back into the sky, banking hard toward the open plains, leaving the clan not in relieved silence, but in the ringing echo of their own defiance. They do not celebrate. The relief is too heavy, too fragile to be mistaken for victory. They have not conquered the god, they have merely negotiated a new precarious boundary between its hunger and their existence. This single act of coordinated defiance born from heretical observation and desperate ingenuity becomes a new kind of ritual. The bone pipes, once a secret shame, are now their sacred instruments. The burning of the resin is their new offering. They have not killed their god, but they have learned to speak its language, the universal tongue of territory, annoyance and risk versus reward that governs all prehistoric life. This is the moment their path diverges. It is the first step away from seeing themselves as helpless supplicates in a world of titans, and toward becoming active agents of their own survival. They have taken the great terrifying mystery of the sky and rendered it, however slightly, understandable. And in that sliver of understanding a new world becomes possible, a world where the future of Homo sapiens is not written by the shadows of dinosaurs, but by the flickering light of their own audacious intelligence. Their struggle is the quiet, unrecorded genesis of the scientific method, a testament to how our human ancestors, armed with nothing but courage and a questioning mind, first dared to look a god in the eye and see not a deity but a problem to be solved. Listen to the wind whistling through the canyons of time, it carries the echo of their courage. A new clan moves through the twilight of a petrified forest, their path illuminated by the bioluminescent fungi on the great trees, unaware that they are being stalked by a silence that has learned to hunt.